All right, we still don't have enough snow up here so that I can show you the different snow blowers and how they compare to each other. So we're going to do one more video inside here. Today we're going to take a look at the Troy-Bilt Storms and the Troy-Bilt Arctic Storms and show you the difference between the two. Let's get started. Down in the dirt. Alright, Troy-Bilt makes two basic different styles of snow throwers. They make the Storm models and the Arctic Storm models. They do have a couple three-stage machines in the lineup, but today I'm going to deal with the two-stage Storm and the two-stage Arctic Storm. Let's take a look first a little bit at the Storm models. The Storm models come in various price points, and they range in size from 24 inches up to 30 inches. They have a 12-inch impeller, 12-inch auger. All of them have a poly chute, and most of them have a hanging chute. The different sizes, they have different engine options for the different sizes. For example, this one here is a 28-inch 243cc engine. They also have them with regular pneumatic tires, the airless tires, and power steering or a solid locked axle. So it depends on what you want. The series is all the same. The Storm XP models give you a little bit more horsepower for the size, and most of them include the electric chute control, which I'll go over a little bit later on. The Arctic Storm models come in either a 30 or 34 inch width. They are a much larger capacity machine than the Storms. They have a 14-inch impeller, 14-inch front auger, and a big metal chute, big hanging metal chute. They only have two engine sizes. I think it's a 357 for the 30-inch, and then the 420cc for the 34-inch. The Storm models are good for most areas of the country. If you average, 40, 60 inches of snow a year, these do a very good job. They throw the snow well, your normal snows. They do have a little problems with the wet, heavy snow. So if you live in an area that gets a lot of wet, heavy snow, they're not the best choice. But if you live in areas like Minneapolis, Chicago, Pittsburgh, Detroit, any of those areas, these are a really good machine. They are a good price point. They last. They're fairly easy to work on, and they're just a good all-around value machine. The Arctic Storm models have a much higher intake on them. They work really well if you live out on the farm and have deeper drifts. They very seldom plug up on heavy wet snow. So the 30-inch model in particular is a very good machine for just about any area of the country. 40 up to 120-inch average snowfall a year. These are really good machines. They throw the snow a long ways. They don't quite throw the snow quite as far as the new Toro Power Max HD or the Aaron's SHO models, but they're very good. You can watch videos of me using this one some, and you can see how far that it throws the snow. One thing I want to point out on the Troy-Bilt models is Both the Storm and the Arctic Storm use the same shear pin. So you don't need to go out and find that special shear pin that the old heavy-duty models used to have. In other words, if you've been around for a while, you know that Troy-Bilt also made a 30, a 33, and a 45-inch snow thrower a few years back. Those required a special shear pin. The new models, the Arctic Storm 30 and 34, use the same shear pin as all the rest of the machines. The shear pin is designed to break, so if you hit anything solid, it will break a shear pin instead of tearing the gearbox out of the snow thrower. The shear pins are very easy to change out. You don't get them stuck like you do with some of the other brands. You also don't need any tools, though sometimes I find that a needle nose pliers helps to put the little cotter pin on myself. But other than that, that's one thing nice about the Troy-Bilt is you're going to bust a shear pin long before you tear anything else up in the machine. I'm not going to show you the difference by pulling the belt covers off today, but the Arctic Storm does have a heavier V-belt system in it, so it can handle the snow without burning out the belts. They went completely through this machine and they did build a good solid unit that's going to last you a long time. Spend just a little bit more time on the front end before we go around to the different parts of the machine. The Arctic Storm uses a 3 paddle cupped impeller, so it's designed for those Midwestern snows that we get. The Arctic Storm, on the other hand, uses a 4 I think you can see it down in there. Uses a 4 paddle cupped impeller. So it's going to give you probably 20% more capacity right off the bat, plus the fact that it's larger. The 14-inch impeller is going to throw further, and it's going to have more capacity than the 12-inch on the Storm series. They also put a cover here in the front to help keep the snow into the impeller so it doesn't blow back out of the front of the machine quite as much as some of the other large machines. It does have a heavier gear case in it. It's aluminum, it's a top load. It's doesn't have any seams in it, so it won't leak on you. It should hold up very well. It also has a support, a bracket in it to hold it in place. So if you hit something, it won't bend your auger shaft, bend your auger shaft and cause everything to start vibrating up and down. If you notice, one of these is broke right at the moment. I didn't notice it when I did last time I cleared some snow. But like I say, it's very easy to change those pins out. Yeah, the pins are pretty inexpensive. Usually buy them in a 4-pack. Let's see if you can see in there very well. 4-pack of pins, and I recommend that you keep a couple on the handle. There's a spot on the handle, keep a couple there, and always have a pack or 2 of these around. One more thing on the Arctic Storm. The metal is about the same thickness. Yeah, it is a little bit thicker. It's a little bit stronger than what's on the Storm models. They also put a wraparound all the way around here, so this is a good solid top piece on it. You never have to worry about getting rattles or anything in the machine. They stamp the sides to give you the maximum strength, and of course Troy-Bilt always puts that reflective tape on it, so you can work outside along the road and people will see you quicker than with if you didn't have that. Another feature that Troy-Bilt put on the Arctic Storm models is they have a support for the handles that runs all the way up from the impeller all the way to the handles themselves. This makes the machine very strong and stiff, so when you push down on the handles there's no give to it at all. Being such a big machine, this is really needed. Some of the other brands have gone to a square handle. This is Troy-Bilt's design, and it does work very well. The brackets on the housing are welded in place. These are bolted in with good heavy-duty bolts, so that it's not going to twist or bend or get frustrating for you over the years. It's going to hold up really well. Both the Arctic Storm and the Storm models, they're using the new engine design. These are a little bit more fuel efficient. They've done a couple little things to them to make them easier to work with. Your throttle's down here. It's a nice little slope design so you can read your labels easier. Push your starting bulb easier, stuff like that. Troy-Bilt uses a plastic tank on here, or a poly tank, so it doesn't ever rust on you. Doesn't get those little problems that you've had in the past. These two models both have the standard muffler system on them. They're fairly quiet. They're a lot quieter than your old snowblower. They don't have the, Troy-Bilt calls it noise guard technology, which is the larger muffler. The larger muffler is available on a few models in the Storm series. Both of them have 110 volt electric start. They do not have fuel shutoffs on them, so be sure that when you go put these away for the spring in the springtime, that you use a fuel stabilizer in your last tank of fuel so that the fuel stays good over the summer. Either that or suck the fuel out of them and then run them dry. Either way. Couple more features. The Storm models now have, most of them have gone to the crank, the quick crank chute, and then the deflector control out on the chute. It has a tensioner nut for the deflector out there, as all of the models used to have. 6-speed transmission, uses the cable system. Here's your little spot right here for your, can I see that? Yeah. Here's your little spot right here to put your shear pins in for storage. The system here is, the cables look lightweight, but they actually do hold up very well. You very seldom will break one. And it's very simple, a very simple system. It's easy to use. The single hand control works very well, so on and so forth. The tension on the drive belt and the impeller belt is easy to do with these. The tensioner adjustment is all on the outside. The tensioner adjustments on the Arctic Storm are also on the outside down here on the bottom, so they're also easy to adjust that way. I do notice that with most of the Troy-Bilts and Cub Cadets and Craftsmans and so on and so forth, after you use them for a while, from brand new, you will have to adjust the impeller a little bit. They won't. The belts will start slipping just a little. They kind of expand or stretch a little bit, but that's a very easy adjustment to do down here. Just read your operator's manual. The Arctic Storm, the shifter cable is a big solid rod on it, and you can see it down there. They don't use the cable on that one, and Because of that, you can move this back and forth pretty easy. One thing that Troy-Bilt does have that's kind of unique, I think there's one or two Craftsman models that still have this, but on the Arctic Storm and then the Storm XP models, they have electric chute controls on it. So there's no cranks, no levers to deal with. You just push this in the direction you want the chute to go and it does it. The engine has to be running, of course, for it to work. Troy-Bilt's electric chute control is bulletproof. It's been around for quite a while now, and I'm saying at least 10 years. This is an industrial grade switch here, so it doesn't wear out. The motors and everything are packed up here under the dash, and they're in a sealed compartment. Those are also industrial grade motors, so it's going to last. There's no way for snow and moisture to get in and wreck it. The chute itself is a hanging chute. Let me go up here a little bit. The chute itself is a hanging chute, so there's no binding or anything down on the bottom. It just this electric chute control just works, and it works very well. It's fast, and once you get onto it, you'll wonder why nobody else does anything like it. One of the things that I really like about it is that the controller is right here by your thumb. You don't have to take your hand off of the handle and reach over like some of the other ones to use the electric chute control. It's one of the best features that Troy-Bilt has with their chutes. Both of these models have heated hand grips on them. Nice thing about the Troy-Bilt is if they do have heated hand grips, they work. They get nice and warm. They don't get overly warm, but they get plenty warm for even old guys like me with bad circulation in my hands. That it keeps my hands nice and functional when I'm out there. Couple more little things that I want to talk to you about, and let me move around to the front here a little bit just so I can talk about the front auger system. The Arctic Storm doesn't plug up like some of the other snowblowers on the market can do. It has the closed flight augers in it, but on the 30-inch there's only two. There's only two flights on each side, and on this 34-inch there's 6 flights, but they're spaced out well. So it'll handle wet snow without plugging up. The same with the Storm models, the 28-inch and smaller models. They don't plug up a whole lot on heavy wet snow. The Storm models will plug up on the impeller area. That's why I don't recommend them for areas like Boston and some of the East Coast that regularly gets that real heavy wet snow. One model of Troy-Bilt that I don't like is the 30-inch Storm and the 30-inch Storm XP. Those two snowblowers use the 12-inch impeller and the 12-inch auger system, and they have 6 flights across here. So they tend to plug up pretty quickly if you're doing heavy wet snow. When I say the Troy-Bilt Storm and 30-inch, I'm also talking about the Craftsman. I don't think Cub Cadet has a 2-stage 30-inch available anymore. But I'm also talking about the Craftsman when I talk about this. The 30-inch with a smaller impeller, they don't do well at all with heavy wet snow. But the 30-inch Arctic Storm does very well. because it only has the 4 auger flights inside, so it has more clearance. It has a better chance to aerate and churn up the snow. And then with the larger impeller and the 4 blades, it throws it out a lot better. I have not been able to get the Arctic Storm series to plug at all, whereas the Storm series, the more economical version, you're going to see that you're going to see more plugging with that if you get the heavy wet stuff. Okay, that was just a quick overview of the differences between the Storm and the Arctic Storm. To summarize, the Storm models work well, and they're good for most areas of the country. You know, the Midwest, Pittsburgh area, you know, all those areas, they work very well. Anywhere where you get 40, 60 inches average a year. The Arctic Storm is a good heavy-duty snowblower. It's a high-capacity machine. It will handle deep drifts very well. It also has plenty of traction for its size because it is just a big, heavy machine to use. It has a huge chute on it, so you don't have any problems with plugging, that type of stuff. It is less money than the Toro PowerMax HD and the Aaron's machines. So if you need a heavy-duty snowblower and just don't want to spend that extra money on those machines, this is a good alternative. It's a good machine. I have no problems recommending it to most people. So anything that I didn't cover that you have a question about, feel free to leave down in the comments below. Again, if you'd like to see more videos like this, please subscribe. If you like it, like it. And don't be afraid to share it on your Facebook page too, to let people know about what I'm doing here with snowblowers for you guys. All right, that's it. Thank you. Appreciate your time. Bye. Down in the